So welcome you back to the Healthy Morning Show right here on HSTV. Right about now, we're zooming straight to the Stay Alive segment. And as I said previously in the intro, we're going to talk about something that is quite sensitive among we Ghanaians, in fact, everyone in general, that is bad breath and how to even cure it without having any negative side effects. And of course, we have our dentist here in the studios with us, Dr. Michael AWUA-MENSAH, who is from Safari Medical Hub, and he's going to educate us more on bad breath. What do we know about bad breath? What causes it in the first place? Some of us can brush and brush, but still, this is persistent. So, doctor, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm great by God's grace. How about you?
I'm awesome.
Okay, I hope coming here was okay for you.
Yes, it was.
Wasn't too hectic?
Okay,
great. So before I move on to my questions, I just want to put you in the spotlight a bit. You as a dentist, when you approach someone that has, a bad breath, how do you say to the person that your breath is bad, you need to take care of yourself? How do you phrase it to that person?
Well, it's quite difficult actually, because it depends on the relationship that you have with the person.
Yeah.
If it's a random stranger, you can't just approach the person and let the person know that he or she has bad breath. But if it's somebody that you've built a bit of rapport with, and you're a dental professional or a health professional, sometimes it's a bit much more easier as compared to the layman trying to tell somebody that he or she has bad breath. But what I do sometimes is that if the relationship between me and the person is quite good, I actually give them my card. I tell them to pass by for a routine dental checkup if they've not been to the dentist for the past 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how would you say I should phrase it to someone? That person with a bad breath?
As I said, it depends. If you're in good relations with the person, you can be able to probably tell the person that, for instance, if it's your partner, you can decide to schedule a dental visit for yourself, but ask your partner to escort you to the clinic. So it becomes something like couple goals that you do with the person.
Okay, true. Couple goals. We are couple goaling this bad breath thing. Okay, so let's move straight into it. So what would you say causes this bad breath in the first place?
Okay, so to delve into that, bad breath is scientifically called halitosis.
Okay.
It's a noticeably unpleasant odor in the mouth, whether it's emanating from the mouth or not, but somebody can perceive it coming out from the mouth. There are different causes of bad breath. There was a classification done in 1999 by Miyazaki et al. And what they came out with was that bad breath can be grouped into 3 main groups. The first group is what we call halitophobia. What halitophobia means is that it's a fear of bad breath. There are some people who socially or objectively you can't perceive the bad breath, but they feel that they have bad breath. And it could probably be a compulsive disorder, psychosis, or maybe they have been treated with bad breath before and the bad breath is no longer there, but they still feel that the bad breath is there. So they do every single thing possible to try and curb the bad breath. That's the halitophobia. And we have another group called the pseudo-halitosis. What that means is that the person doesn't have bad breath, hasn't been treated for bad breath before, but the person constantly feels that there's bad breath. That's the second group. The third group is the genuine halitosis, meaning yes, you can perceive the bad breath. Yes, and with that, it can also be broken down into what we call physiologic and pathologic. I know they are big words. So what physiologic means is that it's a transient or temporary bad breath. So for instance, you wake up in the morning, you have this bad breath, usually for everybody when you wake up in the morning, because you've closed your mouth for a long period of time. There's a transient bad breath that when you brush your teeth, it goes. There could also be bad breath as a result of stress. Maybe you went to eat something like diet, like onions and garlic. They have their natural breath that they give to a person when you take it. It's transient. It's not a long-term thing. Once you brush your teeth or you rinse your mouth, it goes. When you're taking things like cheese, like for instance, you can have a bad breath associated with that. Or even for instance, you close your mouth for a long period of time during the day. Dry mouth is one of the major causes of bad breath. Once you sip on a glass of water and the dry mouth goes down, it's kept. That one is the physiologic. There's no disease that is causing it. The other type is the pathologic, meaning there's an apparent disease causing the bad breath. And that's the one that we should be worried about. So with the pathologic, it can further be grouped into causes coming out from the mouth or causes coming out from other places outside the mouth. So if you're talking about the mouth, for instance, you have coatings on your tongue.
Yeah.
You brush your teeth and you don't clean your tongue, you are predisposed to bad breath. If you have any gum disease, if there's tooth decay, if there's oral cancer, meaning there's some ulceration in your mouth that hasn't healed within a span of 2 weeks and it's persistent, you need to probe further into that. These are the causes within the mouth. The causes outside the mouth may include tonsillitis. There are these structures at the back of your throat. When they get enlarged, they can bring about bad breath. There could be lung disease, there could be diabetes, there could be gastric problems, there could even be medications that as a side effect of it, when you take those medications, you can have some bad breath associated with that.
Okay, so that means aside from you having this dental issues, you can also have other diseases contributing to you having a bad breath.
Exactly.
Depending on your medications.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So for someone that doesn't really take care of his or her oral hygiene, how would you say the poor oral hygiene is going to contribute to one getting a bad breath?
Great question. So there's one particular aspect of oral hygiene, something we call plaque. There are these soft films or layers that form on the teeth when your oral hygiene is not up to its optimum level and you don't brush your teeth regularly. They are usually yellowish, sometimes they are clear, sometimes they are brownish in color. With that, you can brush regularly to clean it off, but when it stays longer on the teeth and you don't brush it, it hardens up into a hard material called calculus or tartar. Calculus or tartar, using a toothbrush to brush your teeth wouldn't let it go. It's usually seen along the lower parts of your teeth, especially along the gum area. You see these yellowish, greenish, brownish substances there. At that point, when you try to use a brush and it doesn't go off, you know that it's hardened up and you need to see a dentist or have a routine cleaning done, what we call scaling and polishing, to take care of these plaque and tartar deposits, because they're a major contribution to bad breath and they're also not aesthetically pleasant. So you need to see your dentist every 6 months to clean that up.
Every 6 months, you said?
Yes, every 6 months.
Okay, now let's talk about the bacteria that causes this bad breath. What role do they have to play in there?
Yeah, so the bacteria that causes bad breath, what they do is that they are they ferment some of these food residues in your mouth, especially sugars and other food debris, and they produce what we call volatile sulfur compounds. So as we know it, sulfur has a very pungent smell. So if they coat your teeth, they coat your tongue, you don't regularly clean your teeth, they start to ferment any food debris left within your mouth and they produce these gases which are quite pungent to humans.
Oh, okay, quite interesting. So for someone that has this bad breath or something, you know, some people resort to other solutions. Some people like to use the neem tree or the chewing stick to brush up their teeth. Would you say that is also healthy?
Using the neem tree to brush the teeth, I wouldn't be so much against it, because ideally to remove some of these soft films, what I call plaque, you have to mechanically remove it. So any physical activity that is used to wipe away the soft film on the teeth is advisable. But you should also bear in mind that some of these in quotes, traditional methods used to clean the teeth, some of them are a bit abrasive. For instance, if it's a bit harsh on the teeth, you'll be damaging the outer layer of the teeth called the enamel. When it starts to wear off, it's going to reveal the second layer of your teeth, which is called the dentine, and you're going to have all sorts of dental sensitivity whatsoever. So we should be careful of some of these traditional methods, even though they are all trying to remove that plaque layer from the teeth. Depending on how abrasive they are, there's a thin line or a gray area between using that and using a toothbrush. And even with the toothbrush, you shouldn't be using a hard brush. You should be using a soft or a medium bristle toothbrush. Using a hard brush is also going to wear off the teeth, the protective layer called the enamel. You're going to wear it off the teeth, and it can result in sensitivity or even causing the teeth to become more yellower than usual.
Using the hard brush?
Yes, because as I said, the outer layer, the enamel, once it's worn off, the second layer is naturally yellow in color. So what you will see in your mouth is more of the second layer, which is naturally yellow in color. And you may think that your teeth are not looking good, so you keep brushing them more. You're worsening your predicament.
Oh, wow. So previously you mentioned something about having a dry mouth. Now let's relate that to having a bad breath. For someone that has dry mouth, how would you say the person should alleviate it to be able to get, you know, to remove this dry mouth and then also remove the bad breath?
Okay, so there are two major ways to alleviate dry mouth. The first one I would suggest is that carrying a bottle of water with you at all times, not because you're thirsty, but sipping on it gradually to more or less prevent your mouth from getting dry. Okay. Another way is through the use of chewing what we call sugarless gum. Okay. So sugarless gum, they contain one chemical we call xylitol. It's it's an artificial sweetener, but it's not really sugar. So the bacteria in your mouth cannot feed on it to bring about dental issues, because the xylitol in the chewing gum helps to keep down some of the bacteria that cause bad breath. And also the act of chewing stimulates your salivary gland to produce saliva, and saliva tries to moisturize the mouth or moisten the mouth in a way.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So for some people, they prefer to, you know, after eating or anything else, they prefer to chew gum just to make the mouth fresh. Yeah. They don't resort to the brushing and stuff. They use the gum to make the mouth fresh. Would you say that is also helpful?
Yes, it's quite helpful in the sense that it's not ideal to brush your teeth immediately after eating. If you want to brush your teeth after eating, you should wait about 30 minutes before you do that. So within that 30 minutes break, if you're chewing gum, it's ideal because you're stimulating the salivary glands to produce saliva, and saliva helps to reduce the acidity in your mouth immediately after eating. So it's actually a good habit that people should look forward to doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And would you say we should take in, so it means we should ignore the sugar gums, the gums that contain sugar?
Yes, you need to avoid
and then take in the normal ones.
The sugar-free gums or the sugarless gums, they contain xylitol.
Yeah. Okay, so how would an ordinary person, some people, we just go in to buy the gum, we don't check certain stuff, we just buy it. So how should an ordinary person know that this gum contains sugar, this gum doesn't contain sugar?
Great question. So when you walk into a pharmacy or supermarket, some of these chewing gums have labels on them that they're sugar-free or sugarless gum. Apart from that, you could go the extra mile on looking at the back of the pack, the ingredients section, where they'll state xylitol, which is spelled as XYLITOL. Once you notice that there's xylitol inside, you have a fair idea that it's sugarless or sugar-free gum.
Okay, so we should look out for xylitol.
Yes.
Okay, quite interesting. So previously we were talking about bacteria growing in the mouth. So what would you say a person should do to control the bacterial growth in the mouth? Okay,
so to control bacterial growth in the mouth, there are, should I say, three major ways to go about that. One, the first two are things that you as an individual can do, and the third one is what a dental professional can do about it for you. So with the one that as an individual can do, it's first of all brushing with a soft bristle toothbrush with a fluoride containing toothpaste twice daily. You don't just do the morning one and ignore the evening one. You should be doing it twice daily at least. In the morning, first thing you do when you wake up, and at night, the last thing you do before you sleep. As well as the second is flossing your teeth. So many people do brush their teeth, but they don't floss their teeth. Flossing is the act of using what we call a dental floss. It's this thin filament or thin material that is used to clean the food debris in between your teeth. If you brush your teeth and you don't floss, it's like taking a shower and not cleaning your armpits. You've not really done much. Yes, so flossing of your teeth is quite important. That should also be done at least once a day. So, for instance, you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you should floss. In the evening, you brush your teeth, you should floss. And even when you finish eating, instead of using a toothpick to try and clean or remove the meat from your teeth, you should be using a dental floss to do that. So those are the first two that an individual should do. The third one is what the dental professional does for you every 6 months. And that's by doing a routine cleaning. That's what we call scaling and polishing, and that should be done every 6 months to take care of the bacteria and the plaque levels in your mouth. Okay, so you were mentioning dental floss. And talking of the dental floss, if someone doesn't have access to getting the dental floss, and people prefer to use the toothpicks, to pick into their teeth, would you say it's also advisable? The toothpick, inadvertently, it damages your gums, and it can also cause some small fractures in your teeth, because it's a very hard material, and you trying to push it into a very tight corner.
Yeah.
You are trying to open up the space in between your teeth, and secondly, you're puncturing your gums if not used properly, and you can cause your gums to bleed. With the dental floss, the first few days you notice that you're bleeding, and some people will see the bleeding as a negative thing and stop using the floss, but you should continue using the dental floss irrespective of the fact that you're still bleeding, and over a period of time it will stop, because once your gums are bleeding, it means that the gums are not healthy. So you using the floss to remove the plaque, move the food debris. Your main goal is to get your gums to become healthy, so that shouldn't stop you from flossing if you're flossing and you're bleeding.
Okay, so you keep mentioning dental floss. How should a normal person get access to getting the dental floss?
Okay, so the dental floss, there are two major types of dental floss. We have what we call the conventional dental floss, which is actually it's a roll of a filament or a roll of a thread that's in a pack. You pull it and it comes out like a thread.
Okay.
And then there's a metal within the pack that is used to cut the floss. And that's the main type of floss. There's another type of floss, what we call the floss pick. It's a plastic that has a thin filament or a thin thread at the tip of it, and that can also be used to floss your teeth. So any of these two, you could get it from a pharmacy, you can get it from a supermarket too as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so concerning brushing of teeth, you know, people have different ways of brushing their teeth. Some go to the side, some up and down. What would you say is the best way to brush one's teeth?
Right, good question. So the best way to brush your teeth, I wouldn't suggest doing the side to side. If you're doing the side to side, if you're not too careful, in the long term, you may cause some wear along the gum area of the teeth. You may cause some tiny crevices along the area if you do the side to side. If you do the up and down, sometimes if you're not too careful, you can cause your gums to recede. The gums can move away from the teeth. So ideally, when you bring your teeth together and you're brushing your teeth, it's best you brush it in circles, in a circular motion, so you don't cause damage to the teeth and you don't also cause damage to your gums as well.
Okay, and how long would you say one should brush for?
Ideally, the rule of thumb is that you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So should someone use, some people, you know, let's say I'm going to work and I want it faster, so I just take some bottled water or pure water and I start using it. If it's chilled or hot, which one would you say is more recommendable? Using chilled water, cold water, hot water, warm water, which one?
If I get your question right, you wake up in the morning and you don't want to brush.
No, I'm in a hurry. I'm in a hurry to go somewhere, and I have the water I have easier access to is cold water.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to use that?
I don't think there's any literature backing either cold or hot water when it comes to rinsing of the mouth. There's been no literature currently to support which one works the most. So I think whichever one you have available should be adequate to use.
Okay, interesting. Now let's talk about how we can, the role the tongue plays concerning the mouth. How long would you say one should brush the tongue for, and why should we even brush our tongues?
The tongue should be brushed immediately after brushing the teeth. And that's to get rid of the coatings that form on the tongue. The tongue is a very, shall I say, peculiar structure in the mouth. You can do everything to your teeth, but once you don't brush your tongue, trust me, you're going to have bad breath, because the bacteria in your mouth, they usually tend to settle on the tongue, because you realize that whenever you're eating, the tongue is tasting, it's moving around, picking up some of these colors from the food and stains from the food and all that. So I believe the tongue is really, really important. And when it comes to brushing the tongue, you could either use the bristles of your toothbrush to brush your tongue. Certain toothbrushes they have this unique feature at the back of the toothbrush, the gummy part at the back. Some have these tiny projections on the tongue that could also be used to clean the tongue. And there are also these tools that we call tongue scrapers or tongue cleaners. Some of them have bristles at the surface that are used to clean the tongue. Others have this metallic structure that is used to scrape the tongue. And the process of cleaning your tongue, it shouldn't be done in any haphazard manner. You don't just go back and forth or side to side to clean your tongue. You either take the brush or the tongue scraper to the back of your tongue and you scrape it or push it to the front. So it's from back to front, so that you don't push the germs at the front to the back. So it's usually done in a back to front fashion. And you don't try to go all the way to the back where you feel like...
I was about to ask that, because I know someone, she's going to brush and make sure it goes all the way inside out. Sometimes I ask her, why does she do that? So it's not healthy.
No, you don't have to go all the way. That could cause you to try to throw up or gag. You take it to the back where it's quite visible for you to see, and you try to do that, because the part that is really, really at the back, it's self-cleansing. The body cleanses that area on its own, so you don't have to go the way to your throat to do it. But the area where you can see, that those are the areas that you brush.
Okay, so concerning the foods that we take in day in and day out, some of them, they come with their own natural scents, and they have an impact on it. So how would you say one can minimize the impact these foods have on us, and give us some examples of these foods as well? Right.
When it comes to some of these foods that can give us bad breath, the quite common ones, I would say onions, garlic, and certain spices that we put in our food. Sometimes it's quite difficult to say you're desisting from taking some of these foods. So what I usually suggest is that some of, for instance, onions and garlic, if they're taken in their raw states, the odor associated with them is quite high. So sometimes if you try to let's say fry it or process it before taking it, the bad breath associated with it is a bit less as compared to chewing the garlic raw or chewing the onions raw. And if you'd want to do that, chew it raw, you could do that maybe in the evening, or maybe at a point where you know that you're not really stepping out to go and do anything. But doing something like that, right, chewing it raw right before you go to work, sometimes you brush your teeth but you still perceive the breath. You could also decide to brush maybe 30 minutes after. It'll help to curb it a little bit, but it wouldn't be too much if you do that.
Okay, so concerning bad breath, would you say it's an indicator that you have a serious disease in your mouth? Or can it be associated with a serious disease?
So as I mentioned earlier, it would depend on the cause, because as I mentioned, we could have the physiologic, meaning there's no apparent disease causing it, such as dry mouth, stress, excessive alcohol intake, smoking. Once you put a hold on those things, it stops. It's not really a disease causing it. That one is the physiologic. But the pathologic, where there's actually an apparent disease causing it, you need to actually find a long-term solution to it. If it's gum disease, you need to see the dentist to cure the gum disease. If it is for instance, tooth decay, because there's a hole in your mouth and there's food packing within the hole and causing a bad breath, you need to seek expert care from your dentist to fill the hole for you so food doesn't pack within it. So depending on the cause of it, if it's a cause where there's an apparent disease causing it, you need to seek help. But if it's something, for instance, stress, smoking, excessive alcohol intake, you yourself know that this is what is causing it. If you put a halt to those things, it will stop. That one is not a disease that causes it.
Okay, so you mentioned smoking. Now I want us to touch more on smoking and tobacco, all these substances. For someone that takes in a lot of these stuff, how would you say it's going to affect his or her breath?
Right, good question. So when it comes to smoking, tobacco itself has its inherent smell or odor. So whenever you smoke, you have that tobacco smell in your mouth. Apart from that, smoking causes a dry mouth. It causes a chamber where there's no air within your mouth. It pushes out the air from your mouth and causes your mouth to be dry. And as I said, dry mouth is one of the major causes of bad breath. And also, there are certain germs within the mouth that proliferate or they reproduce faster in an environment where there's no air. So once you're smoking, you're creating an environment where there's no air within your mouth, and those bacteria start to reproduce more. And they start to cause all sorts of gum disease. They can cause teeth issues. They darken your teeth and cause all sorts of problems within the mouth.
Okay, so for someone hoping to quit smoking and all these tobacco stuff, what advice would you give him or her in case the person is wanting to stop because of oral hygiene? What advice would you give him or her to take in order to curb this bad breath that has come as a result of smoking?
Right, good question. So the first is for the person to accept that he or she has a problem. That's a smoking. There are also people who deny the fact that they're doing it just to curb stress. They're doing it because it's a social habit. They need to know that it's become a compulsive habit that they need to put a hold to. They should also know the fact that the smoking is causing a problem. For instance, if you're smoking and you're at higher risk of getting oral cancer. You know that you're at a higher risk of having issues with your lungs.
Yeah.
You know you're at a higher risk of getting bad breath. You know some of these problems that can that come as a result of smoking. And also the fact that you should also know that if you're seeking help, there are ways to actually wean away from the smoking. There are what we call nicotine patches.
Okay.
There are these patches that help to, you get the kick all right when you like the way you do when you smoke, but you're not actually doing the habit of smoking. There's also nicotine lozenges that you can also take. You also get the kick that nicotine gives you, but you don't get the adverse effects from smoking. There's also nicotine chewing gums and whatnot that help to curb or help somebody wean away from smoking.
Okay, quite interesting. So we're still having a conversation with Dr. Michael AWUA-MENSAH. We're talking about bad breath, and right about now we've opened the phone lines. You can call in. That is 0302-776-6379. Calling, and any contribution at all you have concerning bad breath, share it with us. Doctor is here to answer your questions. I know most of us are out there. We're facing this problem, and we don't know the exact causes or even how to treat it in the first place. So do well to call the number on your screen, and let's see what doctor will also have to say for you. So doctor, let me ask you this. Most of us, when we go to the pharmacy, would you say that mouthwashes and these breath fresheners are going to be helpful in curbing the bad breath?
Great. So when it comes to mouthwashes, I would say mouthwashes are an adjunct to maintaining a good oral hygiene. They are not the main thing we focus on, but they are more or less a buffer or something additional that you can do to keep a good oral hygiene.
Okay.
When it comes to keeping a good oral hygiene, I would say brushing and flossing of your teeth would contribute to about maybe 90% of maintaining a good oral hygiene. And maybe using the mouthwash is an extra 10% to keeping a good oral hygiene. But some people feel that if they don't brush, they can decide to just use the mouthwash or replace the brushing with the mouthwash, but it's not ideal.
So would you say one should brush and also use mouthwash?
You can brush, you floss, depending on the type of mouthwash, because there.
Okay. It seems we have a caller from Spintex. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing? What do you have for us? Pardon?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you
Hello, can you speak louder for us to hear you?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello? I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Can you please speak louder for doctor to hear you? Okay, unfortunately we couldn't get him. So we were talking about the mouthwashes.
Yes. So the mouthwash is not a replacement to brushing and flossing. It's just an additional thing. And also, depending on the type of mouthwash you're using, some are designed in a way that you use it about 30 minutes after brushing. You don't use it immediately after brushing, because if you use it immediately after brushing, you're washing away the fluoride that was used to brush your teeth from the toothpaste.
Okay.
So you need to leave the fluoride on your teeth to work or protect your teeth from decay. So using a mouthwash tends to rinse away the fluoride from your mouth. So most mouthwashes, some are designed to be used 30 minutes after brushing. Some are also designed to be used anytime within the day. Maybe after eating, you can use a mouthwash to rinse your mouth. But you don't use it to replace maybe waking up in the morning and you need to brush and use a mouthwash instead. It's not ideal. It can be used during the daytime or maybe 30 minutes after brushing, but not immediately after brushing. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another caller. Hello, Patrick from OEB. Good morning. What do you have for us, Patrick?
I want to ask how the mother, how you work in a better area, what would be the side of working at the I don't know what the side effects are. I want to know.
Patrick, can you come again?
Hello?
Yes, Patrick, can you come again with your question?
Please, I said, can you answer for me that when you work for that area for so long, what will be the side effect?
When you work in a dusty area?
Yeah, dusty area for so long, what will be the side effect?
Okay. So it seems he wants to know, when you work in a dusty area for so long, How is that going to affect your breath?
I don't think a dusty area can have any effect on your breath. I feel it would have an effect on your respiratory system.
Okay.
So if you're somebody who has an allergy, for instance, you're allergic to dust, you can probably trigger an inflammatory response to the dust. So,
but that has no effects on your mouth or
no,
anything?
to the mouth it doesn't.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so moving away from this, there's something I'm curious about. So we have people that naturally their teeth are yellow in color, even though they brush and brush. I know someone personally, his teeth is yellow in color, but he doesn't seem to have a bad breath. So would you say yellow teeth can contribute to bad breath, or it doesn't have anything to do at all with bad breath?
Okay, so the color of natural teeth is not supposed to be really white.
Okay.
It's actually yellowish white or grayish white. That's the natural color of healthy teeth. So depending on if it's actually the natural color of the teeth, or maybe the teeth have these yellowish things along the gum area, that's when you can actually tell whether that's plaque or tartar that's formed that's causing a bad breath, or maybe that's the natural color of the teeth. That natural color of the teeth doesn't really have an impact on the cause for bad breath. But if the yellowish nature of the teeth, maybe there are actually some coatings on the teeth, that could actually result in bad breath.
Okay,
Yes.
so what steps would you say one should take in order to prevent bad breath in general, so one is not going to get it at all?
So to prevent that, brushing regularly twice daily for 2 minutes with a fluoride-containing toothpaste, using a dental floss to floss your teeth at least once daily. I would also say that visiting your dentist at least once every 6 months. You need to quit smoking, reduce alcohol intake. You should rinse your mouth after eating. So whenever you're done eating, just get a cup of water to rinse your mouth. Also you need to always keep a bottle of water with you and be sipping on it throughout the day. I think it will go a long way to help an individual to prevent bad breath.
Okay, quite interesting. And talk to us about the treatment options you do for these people that have bad breath.
So depending on the apparent cause of the bad breath, if it's as a result of gum disease, visiting a dentist is important to treat the gum disease. If it's as a result of tooth decay, you need to see your dentist to have their tooth filled. If it has to do with tongue coatings, you need to be scraping your tongue regularly. If it has to do with other causes outside the mouth, for instance, if there's some chronic sinusitis, there's tonsillitis, there's intestinal gas in your abdomen, you need to actually seek a physician's help in terms of that to also curb that.
Okay, but after treating the bad breath, how long would you say it's going to leave one permanently?
I would say that if the cause of the bad breath is dealt with properly, and you're also maintaining a good oral hygiene, I don't think the bad breath should be able to come back.
Okay,
again.
so that one is going to go permanently after treating it?
Yes. Exactly.
What if I still go back to doing my various ways? I don't brush my teeth and I don't do all that. It's going to come back?
It will definitely come back.
Okay, quite interesting. So now, okay, it seems we have a caller here with us. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, what do you have for us? Hello?
I wanted to ask that typical question. Every day when I brush in the evening, if I wake up, then if I go to work, I see if I go from church, what is happening so I want to believe that I was brush every day. I'm feeling that for it's just a normal thing.
When you go to the washroom? Hello?
Yeah, in the morning.
Please, can you lower the volume on your TV set so we can hear what you are saying? Yeah. So you said when you go to the washroom, we are listening.
I said, in the evening, if I want to do, if I brush, after brushing, the following day in the morning, when I wake up, if I want to the restroom, and if I look at I keep that stress in my inside my heart, I don't know whether with the brush I use them with brush them. That's what like the brush or something like that. I used to do every time.
Okay. Okay, so he's asking, he says to him when he brushes every morning, when he goes to the washroom, he sees some phlegms coming out. Would you say it's normal? Or is it the brushing that he's doing it wrongly? What exactly is causing that?
When he brushes in the morning,
yeah,
and he goes to the washroom,
he seems to be producing phlegms.
So producing phlegms, I don't think it should be any major issue, depending on the nature of the phlegms. If depending on the color, if it's yellowish and it's greenish, then we tend to think that maybe it's coming from the respiratory system, because phlegms itself has a protective nature in the respiratory system. So if you're producing yellowish phlegms or greenish phlegms, then you need to seek medical advice. But I don't think the phlegms has any role in terms of the brushing of his teeth.
Okay, now there's something I'm curious about though. There are some people when brushing, they seem to be producing blood, you know, bleeding and all that. How would you say that's going to contribute to, would you say it comes from bad breath? How does that even work in the first place?
So bleeding of the gums could be so many things. But the most common cause of bleeding gums is what we call gum disease. Yes, and gum disease can be plaque induced. So when you have those yellowish things forming around your teeth, they more or less irritate the gums, and the gums defense mechanism is by inflammation, meaning the gums get a bit inflamed, or they get a bit bigger, they get a bit swollen. Least trauma to the gums would cause the gums to bleed. It will also be that you're using a hard bristle toothbrush. A hard bristle toothbrush can injure or traumatize the gums and cause the gums to bleed.
Okay, quite interesting. So I have my co-host joining in, James. Hi, we're talking about bad breath.
Yeah, I think we were having a conversation about this earlier in the show. And my concern was particularly, you know, sometimes you have friends or partners who have these bad breath, and their approach is very, very necessary. So we really wanted to know, if someone has a bad breath, how are you supposed to approach the person and tell them? Is it good you gift them with products that has to do helping with bad oral hygiene? What would you recommend? How do we approach these issues?
Right, great question. So when it comes to telling somebody he or she has bad breath, it depends on your relationship with the person. If the person is a total stranger, you can't just walk up to the person to let them know that they have bad breath. And also, buying products, oral care products, to somebody who has bad breath, I don't think it's advisable.
Really?
Some may find it a bit insulting that you are buying them oral care products, and some may not even use them at all. They may not be compliant with using it. So you need to build that kind of rapport with the person. And for instance, as I said, if it's your partner, you should be able to probably, when you schedule a dental visit, you could tell the person that to escort you to the dentist. Same way that you go on holiday vacations with a person as an accomplice, you can decide to go to the clinic. Even when you're done with your procedure, you could tell your partner that they could also have join in and then have their teeth checked as well. So we as dental professionals, who will be the people to see what exactly could be causing the bad breath. We'll be the ones to actually advise the person that, you know what, you need to stop using these products, you need to stop smoking, you need to stop the alcohol intake. It's causing A, B, C, D, and I think they would understand it better from us.
And I think to add up to it, you know, earlier too, we were talking about people with allergies. Naturally, we have people, at the least, they are exposed to perfumes, smoke and all that. They start sneezing and they have this odor like coming from the head, you know, I don't know the phlegms and everything, which also brings a sort of a bad breath, you know, when they have excess of phlegms coming out. I don't know if you can touch on that as well.
So one major condition that I feel could cause that is what we call chronic sinusitis. So the sinuses are these cavities on the left and right sides of the nose within the bone. Usually when these cavities in the skull, they get inflamed. they tend to produce mucus from that area, and chronic sinusitis you can have a bit of bad breath associated with that, and sometimes they are quite allergic to dust and other substances that can trigger the sinusitis to start. But chronic sinusitis is also a cause.
And lastly, with teeth whitening, I know people have been talking about it each and every time.
Yeah.
Is it a must? Is it necessary we get our teeth whitening?
Okay, so teeth whitening, also known as bleaching of the teeth, it's a cosmetic procedure that's done, should be done at a dental clinic to improve the shade of your teeth. The reason I'm saying should be done at a dental clinic is that in recent times it's being done at other premises where it's not a dental clinic. So the measures put in place to actually assess the color of the teeth, manage the patient's expectations, are not being done on the regular. Yeah, so visiting a dentist, we can actually do that for you if you'd want to change the sheets, increase the sheets of your teeth. But it's not something that's permanent. Once you do it, after a period of time, due to our diet, what we take in and all that, the original color of your teeth can come back. So in case it's something that you'd want to keep at a certain level, you need to be visiting us more often to be whitening your teeth for you.
Okay, quite interesting. However, this is for a time will permit us. But before we wrap up the show, I'd like you to share your location out to people out there. If they want to get to you, where should they go? What number should they call on? Right.
So you could visit us at Safari Medical Hub on the Spintex Road. We are in the same building as the Rana Motors showroom, opposite the Lifestyle Gallery. It's just around the Cylinder Junction on the Spintex Road. Okay. And in case you want to get in contact with me, my number is 0267 000-320. And you could also find me on social media, Dr_AWUA, Dr_AWUA.
Okay, can you please mention the number again? Because some people really want to get to you, so please mention the number again.
Right, the number is 0267 000-320.
Okay.
0267 000-320.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. So right about now, we're wrapping up the show.
Yeah, before we do that, we're going straight to our birthday wishes, and we have to wish some people who are celebrating their birthday. So I'm going to start off with Anchorite Nana Sechi, Tulsa 2004. That's him right there on our screen. So wishing you a happy birthday. And moving away from him, we'll go straight to Anchorite Princess Amesu, Tulsa 2005. Happy birthday going out to you, Princess. Away from Princess, we go straight to Anchorite Emmanuel Kwabna Otu, Tulsa 2013. And we're wishing you a happy birthday, Emmanuel. Away from him, we go straight to Anchorite Kwabna Opari Bonsu. That's Tulsa 2006. Away from him, we'll go straight to Anchorite Kezia Tamate, Tulsa 2006. Kezia, wishing you a happy birthday. Away from that, we go straight to Anchorite Linda Norte, Tulsa 93. Anchorite Linda Norte, Tulsa 93. Happy birthday going out to you. And lastly, Anchorite Jennifer Kwadade, Tulsa 2017. So this is coming from Apostle Thomas Kusiapia. He's wishing you all a happy birthday. So viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on the Wednesday edition of Healthy Morning Live on HSTV. To remind you, we have all our social media platforms active from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. It's HSTVLIVE GH. Go there, follow us on all our social media platforms, and get updated on all the things you need to know. Today, we discussed a lot on matters arising and a lot of political issues coming in. So just drop in your comments, and in the course of the programs, we are going to respond to them.
Exactly. So right about now, we're wrapping up the show. We came to you with Matters Horizon Sports in a Minute and Stay Alive segments where we had Dr. Michael AWUA-MENSAH, who is from Safari Medical Hub, here with us. And my name is Ms. Abigail Irama Idu-Mensah, and I was here with...
My name is James Efukwesi. Just call me JK for short. Have a lovely morning.
To the window, you know how the thing go. Check my bingo.